Welcome back to DUBBZI Bricks for another episode of building the Tantive in Lego. In the last update, I worked on the conference room and the scene where Vader is strangling Antilles, and we've actually raised this whole area up by about 3 or 4 bricks. I was originally going to have a corridor along this edge just here, which led to the escape pods. However, it didn't look right where I was putting it because it was on the wrong floor if you were doing the build accurately. So I decided I'm just going to have the hatches and they're going to be closed, so we're just going to have them there. So it's a bit as if the corridor is the other side there. And then we're going to have 3 escape pods in here, and then that was the one that's going to be jettisoned, which would have been R2-D2 and 3PO's escape pod. Now, in the update last week as well, we showed you a haul that had come in from lego.com, and there's pieces that's hopefully going to enable me to get the red ring all sorted around this part of the vessel. And it'd be so nice to get this all covered over as soon as possible. It'd be really nice to see how the skin's going to look on the ship. It's quite a daunting thought getting that all done. It's such a difficult shape to be building, especially with Lego pieces, but hopefully we will come up with something that looks good. So without further ado, let's get the bricks out, plates and tiles out, and let's get started. And here we have the first 4 parts of the red ring that's going around the edge there, and it's very fiddly, and it's taken quite a while just to get them as lined up as best I can. And I am using some reddish brown plates in with the dark red just to give it that weathered effect. And this was following seeing the Clone Wars shuttle mock that I saw at Bricktastic, and I saw the detail on there was so good that I thought, I'll use that when it comes to the Tantive just to give it that much more detail. Anyway, let's carry on building the ring around this end here, and then once I've done so, I'm going to replicate it on the other side, and then we'll work on the bottom. And there we have the top part of the outer ring all completed, and really happy with how it's coming along, especially like the brown lines in there as well. It just gives it that little bit more of character to the build. Now, I've gone as far as I can go with the red rings on the ship. I've used several different pieces than what I was anticipating using, and I haven't got them in my collection. I have started making small panels up here using the parts I have got. And by doing half of one of these, I now know exactly what I need to order in to be able to do the rest of it. So that's all good. And I'm going to get those parts ordered, hopefully this evening. What I'm going to turn my attention to now is doing the white section that's going to be going over this part just here. By doing that, it's going to give me a good idea of working out if I need to order any white pieces in, which I'm sure I will do, as this is proven to be very part intensive. I mean, if you just look at the amount of pieces that we've got in here, we've got brackets, there's 2x1 plates, there's 2x2 plates here, which are then connected to the ball joints behind. And yeah, there's a lot more pieces in it than I was expecting to use. I was originally going to be hoping to do more like this here, where I'm using 2 6x1 bricks, then the row plates, and then cheese wedges. However, it's not always that easy because you want to get these little brackets in here just to close the gaps that little bit. So yeah, that's why I haven't got the right parts in. But yeah, it's all a learning process, and I'm sure it's going to happen a lot more times throughout this entire build. But anyway, let's get the white pieces out and see what we can do on the skin section at the back there. And here we have the first part of the paneling on the white section, and not that happy with it. And I think it's because I'm using 3x1 bricks here. I have large quantities of the 3x1s, and I thought that was going to be the best thing to do to go round there. However, where this is 6 studs wide, I'm a little bit concerned that it's going to look too squared edged, if that makes sense, not given a curved feel to there. So I'm going to have a good search through my Lego collection this evening and see how many 2x1 bricks and plates I can find out. And there we have the first 3 panels all in place, and I'm not going to go much further with this skin of the vessel in this update, as I'm running out of pieces very, very rapidly. And the problem I'm having is I'm having to adjust so many things so many times. For example, this part here, I've just had to move this up by just a fraction, as it was a little bit low going by how this part here is going. It took me over an hour just to get this into the exact position where I want it to be. And we're talking millimeters that it needs to be moved around, and that's obviously very difficult to do when you're talking about the dimensions of a stud. So what I want to do is replicate this here on the other side. However, I haven't got all the pieces to do so. I just started trying to make another one of these panels up, and these parts here, which I wasn't expecting to use, I've run out of. Now, I can use cheese wedges with a plate as well. However, I've run out of the cheese wedges. So what I'm going to be doing is placing a large order with lego.com for a whole load of random pieces, which I've used already on these panels, just so I can just continue all the way around. And that's going to have to be quite a large order. So yeah, it's going to be probably a month or two before I can get all those parts in. But at least I know I'm on the right track, and I'm very confident with the look of this. When I step back and see how it's coming along, happy with what we're doing here. So down here, I've just got the next one that I've started, which is the reverse of this one. So that'll be going over there, or that way around, should I say. And again, I've just tried using all different pieces. We've got this one on the top here, as opposed to that one, just to try and mix it up a little bit. But yeah, it is very trying, very testing, but yeah, loving every second of this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to bench this part just here of the build. I'm now going to turn my attention to this section here and just change those panels over and just see how much difference the new ones make with the lighting. And there we have the new panels with the lights above them. They're much happier with this look. So yeah, glad I got those ones in. I'm not sure whether I'm using the warm white lights or the normal white lights. So I'm going to just double check, but it would be nice to get it a little bit lighter if we can. But all in all, happy with the end result. And I'm now turning my attention back to the escape pods, as this is something we're going to need very soon, so we know what we're doing with that part of the build. Now here we have the Lego set that we were using for our inspiration originally, and here is what's left of our own version of the escape pod. Now, as you can see, I've stolen quite a few pieces off of this for other builds. Reason I took them is I knew that I wasn't going to be keeping this. It's way too big, and when you see the minifigures stood inside of it, yeah, it needs to come down more to this sort of size. Now, I do like this Lego set in some ways. These parts here are getting in the way of it being able to come out of the build, and the same with the hinge pieces just here. So I need to try and find a compromise with this. Now, to be fair, I don't actually need to have the escape pod opening up. 3 of these are going to be actually just sat in the ship, and the 4th one, which is going to be jettison, is going to be just down below on the surface, so we can have any hinges on there. It's not going to interrupt with the build. On the other side, where the other 4 escape pods are going to be, you're only going to see this part, so I'm not going to be building the entire escape pod. So I just want to try and come up with my own version of the escape pod, which we can have just sitting in the exposed side of the build. We did order 4 of these curved slopes here a little while ago, which I think are going to work perfectly around the top of the build here. So let's just start experimenting with this build here and just see if we can come up with something that we're actually happy with. And here we have the latest version of the escape pod. So we've used the rear end of it, and then we've used the curved parts here, which are on the Lego set, and then we've used this new curved slope that we've got, and then the very front bit here is a combination of the two. And all in all, pretty happy with how this has come out. It would have been nice to have got the 2 antennas on the front, these parts here. I think it might be thrusters actually, but I just can't work out how I can attach them. I could bring these 2 parts here a little bit apart and then put some clips on there. However, I don't think that that's going to look right. It's going to be a lot of gaps. I do like how it's nice and smooth and tidy. So I'm just going to have a think about it. But for the time being, I will leave it like this. Now, at the moment, this, I think, will just fall straight out of the hole where the escape pods are going to be. It would help to have the hinges back on there, because that stops it all from dropping through. You can actually use those as a way of keeping it in place. So, yeah, just need to work that part out. But we'll worry about that further down the line. At least I've got an escape pod here now that I'm relatively happy with. If I can find a new solution for this front end bit, I will certainly investigate it further. But for the time being, really happy with the new escape pod. And here we have the escape pod all in position, and it's going to be about 3 or 4 more bricks lower, I think. If you look down below here, it's only just poking out, and this hasn't got the skin on here, which is going to be at least 1 brick thick. So that would take it just to pretty much there, and I think you need about that much of it sticking out of the base. So if I bring that whole section down, I think I'm almost going to be able to plate across here a lot more. What I'm going to need to do is bring these snot brick walls here forward by the 2 studs that you can see just there, and then actually plate over the Technic brick down the bottom. I think this is going to work out really well, and it's going to look a lot better once it is all completed. So I'm not going to worry about the escape pod for the time being. What we're going to do is turn our attention back up to this room here. And I want to start putting the roof section in across here, using the same panels as we've done on that part, get the wires all in place, and then we can start thinking about the room that goes above it. And I've decided before making a start on the ceiling area, we needed to get this doorway all sorted. Previously we had the lip, as you've got at the bottom just there. However, I thought for this room it could do with it being just nice and flush as you come through. So I've rotated that by 90 degrees, so it's actually, the studs are now touching the floor. Previously they were touching the snot brick to the back there, so all of these are now just normal bricks. Got a tile on the top there, then another tile, and then this one here is actually inverted, so we've got a snot brick just there, which is the same as on this side, and you've got a snot brick here which is connecting it all together. The good thing is I can then put a tile on the bottom here, because we've used another couple of snot bricks just there and there. We've got snot bricks on the top there, which then connect into the plate. So it's nice and firm and shouldn't go anywhere. The only weak spot is just this bit here is a little bit loose. I could have built a brick going across there. However, due to having these details there, I'm actually using snot bricks behind there. But it doesn't matter. There's not going to be any pressure put on those particular parts. Now I've got the doorway sorted, I can finally make a start on the ceiling. And there we have the roof section all in place, and it's looking really cool. I like how it's got quite a closed in look about it. It makes you really want to peer inside, which is what I'm after with the build. I want people to be looking at it at every angle. So when you come to this section here, this is going to have a ceiling on it as well. So I'll put another panel on here, hopefully, which will have a bulb above it. So the only way you'll be able to see is if you get down low and then look in from every angle, so you can see how many stormtroopers you can see through the holes. Now with this part here, we've got a plate here, and we're going to feed the lights through, and I'm going to put 2 or 3 lights per panel. Now at the moment I'm thinking they're probably just going to be resting there, as there's nowhere for me to actually connect anything to it unless I change some of these bricks over. But I will have a think about that in just a moment. Then what we do is we put a plate across the top of here, and then we can start building the rooms that are going on the top just there. Now here we've got the connector board, and that's for all the lights that are down on the bit below. So we have the wire coming along here, and then that will join onto the connector board, which will also be feeding these lights here. Now I do need to do a similar panel to this on this section just here as well, as we're going to have this all covered over. So yeah, it's getting all exciting with the lights. Really looking forward to putting them all on later and just seeing how well lit it's going to be. And also we need to find out whether or not we need to put any more lights in. Hopefully we will have enough, so I will test them before I start building on the floor above. So let's go get the lights out, put them all in place, and then I'll check back in a little while. And we've got over half the floor all in place, and as you can see, we've got the lights all attached here. The wires are coming through. I thought I'd just show you how I'm going about connecting them. I want the lights to stay in place and be in the right position. So I've attached these inverted tiles here. I've not fully pushed them into the studs, just enough to keep the wires in place, and then that should work out perfectly. Now, due to where this plate lines up and where I need the bulbs to be, I'm having to put the wires going in one direction and then coming back on themselves. But let's carry on plating all of this off, and then we'll switch the lights on and see how it looks. And there we have the conference room all lit up, and I couldn't be happy of how this come out. It's absolutely perfect. So the light is just right in there, and it's a little bit different in person than on the screen. It's a little bit lighter, which is just what I was after. And the same down here. I love the way you have to really peer in there just to see all of the stormtroopers keeping watch on what's happening with Vader and Antilles. But yeah, massive thank you once again to Gamer Bricks for sending the lights through to me. I really do appreciate all of your support. Bringing these mocks to life is just so much fun, and yeah, couldn't do it without you guys. And if anybody else is after some lights, I will leave a link to Gamer Bricks in the video description. It's an affiliate link, so you will get 25% off of your order, or use code DUBBZI to get that 25% off, and all orders do help the channel. So yeah, thanks again, Gamer Bricks. So here we have the start of the room that's going on the top here, and this is going to be Leia's personal quarters. And I'm not sure whether to keep the same design you have in the corridors on the walls there or change it up a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit of research over the next week or so just to see what's what. So what I'm probably going to do is claim that may be sort of like a bedroom, for example, or the sort of like showers and etc. And then down this end, I'm considering making this the hot tub as a little Easter egg, so to speak, from the Lego Star Wars games. So yeah, that's going to be a separate room up, obviously up here. And I'll probably put another one of the printed door panels, one of these, this side as well. Once this floor's all tiled off, you won't see the lights shining through like you can at the moment. But yeah, there it is. Really pleased with what we managed to get done in this update. It's going to be nice once I get a load more pieces ordered in, which I'm still actually compiling the list. So I was going to place the order night before last. However, I just want to make sure that I'm getting everything. One other thing I have noticed is the ceiling wants to drop down just here at the moment. So I pull this plate off here, that's just dropping there. So I just need to sort that out as well. I keep pushing it up, but I think it's just the sheer weight of this whole section's wanting to go down there. But what I might do is just put a pipe up like we've got just here, just to act as an extra detail, but also help as a support. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building the Tantive in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.